Yes, he did. Donnybrook is made possible by the support of the Betsy and Thomas Patterson Foundation and the members of 9PBS.
Well, thanks for joining us for this hot edition of Donnybrook. Great to have you with us. And we also want to thank everybody who's had concerns about why we're still remote. Turns out our studio is being renovated, and soon, before you know it, we'll be back in the studio, ending our pandemic sojourn through these Zoom remotes or whatever you describe them. Hey, let's meet the panelists who are joining us for this edition, starting with the Big 550 News Director. She is Wendy Wiese, also the co-host of the Jennifer and Wendy Show, weekdays on 550. Then there's Bill McClellan, who's back from a vacation to Disneyland. Of course, he's with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Oh, Disney World. Yes, fantastic. Fake news. He went to Disney World. And Ray Hartmann is with us from rawstory.com, the Riverfront Times, and also the Big 550 KTRS. And we welcome editor from the St. Louis American, Mr. Alvin Reid. Quick programming note before we get to our topics. Vanessa Cooksey, who is the CEO and president of the Regional Arts Commission, will join us and talk about arts in St. Louis and the struggle they've had the last year because their organization is funded through the hotel motel tax. And we know that beleaguered industry had a terrible 12 to 15 months. Bill, we're going to start with you with breaking news. We have learned that Dustin Boone, St. Louis Metropolitan Police officer, was found guilty of aiding and abetting the deprivation of civil rights of his fellow officer, Luther Hall. That came from the jury this afternoon. His colleague, Chris Myers, well, the jury couldn't decide. So the second time a hung jury for Christopher Myers. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I didn't attend any of the trial or watch it, so this is an uneducated guess. But I'm a little disappointed, and it seemed like a federal jury, which usually goes along with police officers, would have had a little more sympathy for a police officer victim like Luther Hall, and so I thought, I'm glad somebody got convicted, but it just seemed like here these police officers were boasting about what they were going to do, and then what they were going to do happened, and there seemed to be evidence against these guys, and yet the jury was only able to convict one. So it certainly wasn't a good time for the U.S. Attorney's Office. I don't think there'll be any celebrating over there.
I would just have to say something is better than nothing. And once again, I honestly felt like nothing was coming down the pipeline again. The jury is picked from where it's selected. And the fact that the counties that it comes from, not including the city of St. Louis, I just feel like, and it was an all-white jury without accusing anybody of being racist, just the way it is, the fact that somebody got convicted of something, although it sounds like he aided and abetted a crime that other people pleaded guilty to, and then this one police officer had nothing to do with. That just seems like a long stretch to me. But as I said, something is better than nothing. And I would say to the St. Louis Police Department and police departments all across the United States of America, when you go out trying to recruit, black police officers and police officers of color, this is the kind of thing that makes people want no part of the police department.
I was going to say that this is not a victory for the police department at all. And I suspect it'll be one more, internal morale thing. That's why there's so much frustration. And I'm somebody that criticized the defund the police slogan from day one. I don't believe in that. And I do believe in respecting police officers, but this is just one more fuel to that fire, that police officers don't get held accountable. And it's, I agree with Bill. I mean, I'm like Bill, I wasn't there. And obviously Scott Rosenblum walked his client, which seems to be what he usually is able to do because he's a very good defense attorney. But I don't know.
Okay. Hey, Riley, let's stick with you then and take a look at another story. We got information this afternoon that Mark McCloskey and his wife, Patricia, have both pleaded guilty in their case. As you know, former U.S. Attorney Richard Callahan was the special prosecutor looking into this case and prosecuting. It turns out Mark McCloskey has pleaded guilty to fourth-degree misdemeanor assault. He'll pay a $750 fine. Patricia, his wife, who was also brandishing firearms in front of their luxurious Central West End home in front of protesters who were walking around the corner, she has pleaded guilty to second-degree misdemeanor harassment. And so she pays a $2,000 fine. And I will say, one of my colleagues on KMOX, Brad Young, on the Ryan Recker show, quite some time ago said something I didn't agree with, but maybe this was what happened. He said he encouraged them, since Governor Mike Parson has already said that he would pardon the McCloskeys if they ever found themselves guilty, that Brad Young said, just plead guilty, save yourself boatloads of legal bills, because a pardon in the state of Missouri is the equivalent of being declared innocent. Do you think that's plausible? That's why they did it?
No, I think he was good. Well, I don't want to get into his funky thought processes. He already's made a campaign commercial out of it. It's the first time I've ever heard anybody standing on the courthouse steps, pleading guilty and saying, "I'd do it again." And which is what he did. He's obviously it'll be good for him in a Republican primary. I think it very much validates Kim Gardner's original decision to prosecute him. He was guilty, and it does, no matter what his political allies do to whitewash that, he was guilty. Interestingly, by contrast, William Tisby, another person involved in a high-profile Kim Gardner case, according to my sources, has repeatedly refused to plead guilty out of principle. And that's the case everybody says, oh, yeah, we got to do that one, on a case that was dropped against Eric Greitens. So, yeah, I think it shows that he should have been prosecuted. And by the way, he'll get what he wants. I understand that. But I think Kim Gardner did the right thing. I don't think we can allow people to brandish weapons at innocent bystanders, period.
Well, but it depends, I guess, Ray, on who's brandishing the weapon, because we know that there were plenty of weapons being brandished during that entire period. But this is exactly what McCloskey wanted. This is definitely not a defeat. And as you said, using it in his campaign commercials, this is nothing appeals more than to the red meat, don't tread on me base than Mark McCloskey at this moment.
Only in
Whether
Missouri,
you believe it or not.
Only in Missouri could the guy with the assault rifle get less of a penalty than the woman with the pop gun in her hand and the mustard stain on her blouse. This is why this never should have been brought in the first place. I mean, these penalty fines, and they're going to be just pardoned. And now you've created yet another, just whatever kind of individual running for office in the state of Missouri. This all just could have been avoided. And I think sometimes you just need to avoid things.
It's the year anniversary of us disagreeing. You and with all my colleagues, I still disagree. Keep something in mind. Mark McCloskey was nationally famous before he was prosecuted. He was already on the network TVs. He was going to the Republican convention as an example of a vigilante, regardless of whether
you don't know that, Ray. I mean, Ray. It was after he was charged that Donald Trump jumped into it. And Alvin's right. This has been a godsend for the McCloskeys, and I'm just grateful that Callahan is the grown-up in the room and decided we're not going to have a show trial. Just plead guilty to something and let's move on. And to call this, it is a victory for Kim Gardner in the sense that people like you, her fans, are excited, and it's a victory for the McCloskeys that their fans are excited, but it didn't accomplish anything.
Hey, let me ask you something, Bill.
He was an international star before he was prosecuted. He didn't.
Hey,
that's just our little local piece of it. Nobody cared.
But I want to ask Bill a question about the law, because, Bill, you've sat in a zillion courtrooms. Don't judges sometimes, in exchange for a guilty plea, either ask for remorse or they have a condition where you can't go on the courthouse steps and contest anything, right?
Yeah, well, I can. I have heard of instances in which the judge says he's going to withdraw the guilty plea because somebody goes out and says, I didn't really do it. I don't think this rises, and obviously I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think this rises to that level when the McCloskeys go out there and say, I'd do it again.
Well, what do you mean? He pleaded guilty. And what does rise if that doesn't? I mean, he just said he pleaded guilty and basically came out and said, I was lying to the judge. I just did that for there. Now, here's what I want to say to you, and I'll stick to my guns on this.
Hey, well, Ray, I know you're right. Ray is right.
He
Finally,
was famous for pointing that gun at black people.
I got to tell you, Ray, you're onto something because finally the circuit attorney got a conviction for a gun crime in the city of St. Louis. So it's a good day for her.
Well, I mean, but everybody's saying that what part of this, I just can't believe y'all don't see that he was internationally famous.
He was not. He was not, Ray. He was not. He had 5 minutes of fame, which we have now turned into 5 years of fame. It would have been done. It would have been over.
Ray, he went from like 10-karat gold plated to 24-karat gold plated. That was what it did.
He was going to be.
No, he was not.
Let's move on. Great points, everybody. Really appreciate that. As we move on to Wendy Wiese and take a look at some of the vaccination numbers in the state of Missouri. Not really good, Wendy, and I don't quite get it because we've got that Indian variant coming, and it's more contagious, more deadly. And yet, while the United States is 44% as a whole fully vaccinated, Vermont's around 80%. Some cities like San Francisco and Seattle are north of 70%. St. Louis County, just 42% fully vaccinated. Jefferson County, 28%. Jackson County and St. Louis City at 36%, so low. And, we got that fall and winter coming when this virus is more deadly. I'm shocked and rather ashamed of Missouri and our area. I just don't get it. What do you say?
We're in the 5 states that include California, Utah, Arkansas, Missouri, and was it Florida? I think it
was Florida.
Yeah, Florida might have been the 5th one. I don't understand it, especially now that there's word that there's going to be a pill. I mean, they're working on developing an actual pill that we will all take seasonally as a preventative measure. But there was that tragic story this week about the fashion. The fashion icon, the fashionista here in St. Louis that we lost, and he and his wife were against vaccination on religious grounds. And because of the history of African Americans and the experimental nature of some of these things on the part of the federal government. So I don't know how you can break through decades, if not in some cases, over centuries of mistrust. I'm not sure. That seems to be what we have to do, and that's a pretty difficult task for anyone.
Wendy, except that when the polio vaccinations came out, everybody got vaccinated. I mean, it just seems like kind of an excuse. This, decades of oppression and everything. People just. They don't believe anybody anymore, I'm afraid.
Right. Well, and I don't mean to be frivolous about this, but Chris Paul, All-Star guard, Phoenix Suns, he's apt to miss games throughout the playoffs now because he's in quarantine. Okay. Now, whatever your deal is, okay, you're responsible to your family first, to whatever your job is, but that's on down the line. But what's going on here? Listen. It's crystal clear, and it's probably coming. And I'm quoting somebody from the American. It says, you got 3 options. Either you had COVID, you're vaccinated, or you're going to get COVID because it is out there. And if you don't want to believe that, fine. And I don't want to sound callous, and I don't want to sound just god awful mean. But seriously, if you get it now, it's on you. Okay. And if it's on you, then you just can't come back and say like, oh my, what a horror story. What a tragedy. No, get vaccinated. Missouri, get vaccinated. St. Louis, especially, get vaccinated.
Well, Alvin, I don't know if that's callous. In fact, I heard from a nurse at a local hospital who said the nurses are starting to adopt that viewpoint, Alvin, the one that you just shared. You know, they have much less sympathy now for the patients. And Wendy was referring to Mark Anthony Campbell. It was a poignant column written by Sylvester Brown for St. Louis Public Radio. The man decided not to get the vaccination, and he had not paid his health insurance, or rather his life insurance payment, and he has left a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old. And it's just really sad. That's the consequence of him deciding, for whatever reason, not to get the vaccination.
But his wife, his wife mentioned in that article that they are at peace as a family of faith with the loss and their belief that he is where he is. And I realize that that's difficult for some people to understand, but that is where the family is.
But what would have been worse for the family had he gotten the vaccination? And what's the worst thing that could have happened that would have been worse than what happened now?
I hear you. Oh, and Charlie, I do have to just make this quick correction. We're partners with St. Louis Public Radio, and Sylvester wrote that story, and it was published in the St. Louis American.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
More fake news.
Charlie, real quickly, one of the real tragedies of COVID has been the politicization of this unnecessarily, regardless of what side you're on. And again, this has been a consistent theme. Is Becker's Hospital Review just came out with the top 21 states, the highest states in vaccination percentages are blue states. The bottom 16 are all red. And I'm not saying that to make a point of blue states as much as a red states, is to say it's really unfortunate. And to me, the onus is on Mike Parson and others to step up now, regardless of what they've done, and tell and activate some strategy to get people vaccinated, because it can affect our entire state, its economy, and everything else, regardless of what you think politically. It's got to take seriously the need to get people vaccinated in this state. Whatever has happened.
I think if we continue to see these numbers increasing, then maybe that will scare some people into those clinics. But until then, Ray, you're talking about cultural barriers, religious barriers. I
thought it was extraordinary that the Washington Post singled out, I don't know if they did it on purpose, Polk County, which is where Mike Parson had been a sheriff for 12 years, his home county, as one of the examples in a national story that it cited of just ginormous increases, tragically, in COVID cases in the last week.
Right. Well,
let's move on, guys, to Bill, because Cori Bush, I say newly elected Congresswoman, but it's been a while now, so we'll just call her Congresswoman Cori Bush, has come out in favor of decriminalizing all drugs, not just marijuana, but heroin, methamphetamines, hashish, crack cocaine, you name it. No longer would you face jail time for possession of any of those. Bill, that's not new for you, because you've been advocating that on this program for a long time, correct?
I have, and I've been writing about it too, that if we took the money that we spent on law enforcement and incarceration and had more treatment and let people who have a problem choose treatment, I think we'd be much better off. And, people say, well, if you legalize everything, we'll have more junkies. Well, we have junkies now. If you want to be a junkie, you can find it. And I go to the liquor store and I walk right past the grain alcohol to get to the gin or the red wine or whatever I'm drinking at the time. I mean, it isn't like people go to the very worst thing. Like, I want 180 proof grain alcohol. People have more sense than that. And so I think Cori Bush, I support this. I don't think there's much chance of it.
Bill, I don't know what the statistics are in terms of the prison population and the percentage of the people who are currently serving time and were under the influence of drugs and alcohol when they committed a crime, but I'd be willing to bet it's fairly substantial.
Oh, I'm sure it is, Wendy. Just like the jails are filled with people who have drug problems or had at the time. But part of that is because they're getting in trouble because they have to go out and steal, $200 worth of stuff to be able to sell it for 50 and buy the dope illegally. If it was all legal, I think we would be able to regulate it. So I mean, I'm not saying it's a panacea or would make everything wonderful. I just think it's better. It would be better that way than what we do now.
And Wendy, it would also. I was just going to say, hey, it won't take all of the violence out of it. It'll take a lot of the violence out of it. Like if and this is like futuristic America, but just like marijuana, if you could get what you want by going to get it, all of the killing and the shooting would stop because you would just go get it. Now, I'm not saying that the government should sell heroin, and Charlie listed pretty much every drug I've ever even heard of at the beginning of this, but I don't think that. I just don't think because you do that, everybody is now a junkie in America. Everybody.
I got to tell you something, but haven't you noticed recently now that, for example, marijuana is legal for recreational purposes in Illinois? You walk around Missouri and it's wafting everywhere right now. And I have a feeling that if you loosen the rules, not only will it proliferate, but drug use, people will say, oh, well, how bad can it be? It's legal. I mean, they'll grow up in a culture where, crack cocaine, powder cocaine, they're legal. How bad can it be? The government doesn't ban it. And I think that, we might save money on prison bills. We might save money on police work. But man, are we going to have hefty bills for treatment? And
Charlie, why it's way less, fewer Americans smoke than 20 years ago. I mean, and smoke is legal, but they saw the light, like smoking will kill you, okay? And now it's like 33% less than it was like 10, just not going back very far at all. Same with drugs. Most people already know that, hey man, drugs will kill you. Okay, you need to be careful, all right? And I think most people know that.
Charlie, you may not smell it. We got a drug called alcohol that people have been taking and using for a long, long time. That we, of course, built one of the drugs that built our town. And I got to say, one of my best issues on Donnybrook has been for 34 and a half years going, here, every time McClellan talks about this issue, because Bill's been ahead of his time on this issue.
Hey.
And drug prohibition.
Let's not pretend most people are agreeing with you, knuckleheads.
Prohibition.
Hey, come on. Just because you two or you three and Cori Bush agree doesn't mean everybody out there agrees with you.
But it's
that
right.
Meth should be legal is what you're saying.
Wait a minute. No. Wait, Charlie.
And if it's legal to possess it, must be legal to cook it in your trailer, I guess.
No, I was just going to say, none of that. It's not you. If you said you had to buy, like whatever you wanted to buy at the dispensary, okay, that does not mean you can do it. See, we're not saying you can cook it up wherever. That is.
I'll tell you
you can hold it, but you can't create it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cartels.
Wait a minute, no. I can buy a gun.
Charlie,
Wait a minute.
Like in Illinois, you don't. Go ahead.
I can buy a gun legally. I cannot manufacture guns.
Really?
That's out.
I thought with a 3D computer you could do that now.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
One of the problems.
Okay, let's move on to our final topic, and that would be. It was announced this afternoon by the interim public safety director, Dan Isom, former guest of the show, that the medium security prison, the workhouse, is closing. They've moved all the detainees or residents, Ray, out of there. Actually, I'm going to you, Alvin, on this one. And they're going to the City Justice Center. And, you know my stand on that. They are, however, Nick Dunn, spokesperson for the mayor, said they're still going to keep it open in case there's overflow. And this week, it was announced by the federal government that they are sending their inmates that used to be in the City Justice Center to 24 jails, some of them 4.5 hours away from here in Kentucky and in Indiana. What do you think of this?
I think look, you're going to close it. You closed it, okay? And you might have some, like, say, spillover, but not just campaign promise. This is what St. Louis needs. St. Louis decides, so we're going to do something, we're going to make it work, and bang, let's do it. That's what we need. That's what we need. It's how you get things done, and they're getting things done, okay? This is going to get done, whether than fester for the next 10 years, and I think that's a good thing.
I think Tashara Jones' best hire so far is Dan Isom, and I'm happy if Dan Isom is in charge of it. He apparently is, and he's making what it looks to me to be a very thoughtful approach to just an awful situation. I'm happy to defer.
What's awful about it? He wouldn't let members of the press into tour it, and he said it on our show that he'd have to get all the detainees to sign off on it, which was completely inaccurate.
We don't need that press in there. I think he's doing it right. No, we don't.
Some within the Board of Aldermen say it's still being rushed. There is no reason for the hurry, except to keep a campaign promise, right?
Wait. We're never in a hurry. That's why we're behind the rest of the world in St. Louis. We're never in a hurry. The rest of the world is in a hurry.
Right. And so the same people could criticize Bashar for not keeping it to campaign promise if she doesn't. I don't think it's being rushed. I think he's doing like I say, I happen to think they're doing it right. I think they're doing the right thing.
Well, it's the right place to go because, after all, the locks don't work. There aren't enough corrections officers. The corrections officers that are there are preying upon the inmates in collusion with the other inmates. But other than that, it's just fantastic. What a great place.
Right. And that was my James Cagney imitation for double indemnity. In San Francisco, we're in a hurry.
Closing the workhouse.
St. Louis needs to be in a hurry.
I will say we're out of time. So what we'll do is we'll pick it up from there next week at this time, unless you're Wendy Wiese, because you and I, Wendy, are going to talk to Vanessa Cooksey, who is the new president and CEO of the Regional Arts Commission. And she'll tell us what she has planned for 2021 and beyond. And that's next on Next Up. We hope you join us.
Donnybrook is made possible by the support of the Betsy and Thomas Patterson Foundation and the members of 9PBS.
Well, talk about baptism by fire. That was the experience of our next guest. She's Vanessa Cooksey, who's the new president and CEO of the Regional Arts Commission, who took over her organization on November 2nd of last year, 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, which might not be too big a deal for some organizations, but her group is funded by a hotel motel tax. And we all know what happened to hotel motel receipts in our area last year. And so she's still smiling, as you can see, which is a good sign for us. Welcome to Next Up, Vanessa Cooksey. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, I don't want to start with bad news or anything, but it really was rugged in 2020 for hotels and motels. And the people who rely on money from the Regional Arts Commission were relying on money that just wasn't coming in. And so tell us about taking on this assignment at that extremely difficult time.
You described it exactly. It was difficult. And I think that, actually, let me start by saying RAC receives 93% of its revenue from hotel motel sales tax. And that is significant. It's our primary source of funding. And we lost 62% of our revenue in a 12-month period. So just to put it in real numbers, in 2019, it was one of our best years, thanks to the Blues for winning the championship. We had a little over $7 million in revenue in 2019. We ended 2020 with $3.5 million, and we're on track for about $2.8 million. And So what I did when I came in November was I took about the first 2 months just to understand the hotel motel industry and how the impact of COVID wasn't going to be a short-term situation. And through research and partnership with Explore St. Louis, it's going to take about 4 years before we see pre-COVID revenue, and it's going to get, a little tougher before it gets better. So we had to really think about what was best for RAC, not just right now, but for the long term.
What were some of the first decisions that you had to make, Ms. Cooksey, in that regard, keeping in mind that it is going to be 4 years out? You said in an article, you were quoted as saying that yes, other industries and other areas will be rebounding much more quickly, but RAC will not. So what are you doing to right the ship in that regard?
I'm very thankful to be in partnership with our commission, who started working towards solvency for RAC at the very beginning in March. We did experience some displacements earlier in the year. When I came on board, we had to continue displacements. We had 13 FTE in early March of 2020. Right now, we've got 3, and I am one of the 3. And so part of what influenced the decision around displacements was that there is a requirement in our statute that only 15% of our annual revenues can be spent on administrative and staffing expense. So when you go from a $7 million budget to a $2 million budget, that percentage gets real low real quick. And so the hardest part for RAC was just the displacement of staff. The other decision that we had to make that was really tough was which programs could we successfully execute with a lot fewer resources. So in a great year, we'd have 4 or more grant programs, as well as programs for artists and arts organization. This year, we're focused on funding our existing grantees with general operating support, as well as program support, and continuing our partnership with the DeVos Institute for our capacity building program.
As Charlie mentioned briefly, I'm sorry, Charlie, just a quick follow-up. The webinars that RAC conducted, you have been incredibly transparent. The artists have been incredibly honest with all of their concerns. Why is that transparency so important, and especially during a pandemic?
It is so important because RAC is a quasi-governmental organization. We are funded by tax dollars, hotel motel sales tax. So when visitors come and we receive that sales tax, we invest it in our community. RAC is a public good. And so it only helps us to communicate, and there's really nothing to hide. And when we were founded 35 years ago, no one had COVID on the mind, even 2 years ago. And so being transparent and letting people know where we are not only gives us credibility and goodwill, it helps us to move this sector forward. We have to do this together. Nobody gets through a crisis alone.
It seems to me that you're in a difficult position because the organizations that benefit from the Regional Arts Commission are local not-for-profits like the Muni and the Rep and COCA and other artists who probably go around St. Louis for their funding. They probably go to the benefactors, the foundations, and the corporations. For you to do that, to make up for the lost tax receipts, you might be competing with the artists and the organizations. So is it possible for you to go outside of St. Louis? And you've got that experience because you used to work for Coca-Cola, you worked for the Atlanta mayor's office, I believe, and the Cartoon Network, and a lot of non-St. Louis organizations. Is it possible to go outside of St. Louis and actually get money for the Regional Arts Commission?
Not only is it possible, it's necessary. From the very beginning, RAC and our commissioners and our team have been very sensitive about not competing with our grantees. And the role that RAC plays in this community is essential because we provide general operating support, which is not often the case for other types of funding that they receive. And so we have been very much focused on looking at sources of revenue from national foundations, the federal government, because we want our efforts to be additive to the funding that's available for arts organizations, by no means competitive.
You were the 2016 Eisenhower Fellowship recipient. You spent time in Japan and Rwanda. I think those are two completely diverse cultures. Can you share with our viewers how that experience has impacted the work that you want to continue to do here at RAC? Because we do bring every single experience with us to our present time, don't we?
Yes, we do. And thank you for mentioning that. Being an Eisenhower Fellow has been one of my greatest honors. And to have an immersive experience in both Japan and Rwanda, just like you said, two totally different cultures at that point in my career, really was life-changing. And what I bring to RAC from that experience is our connectedness as humans. And art has an amazing ability to reconnect us. I've been so proud to be out in the community, whether it's experiencing the Black Rep or Shakespeare Festival. The role of arts and culture in strengthening our region and our resilience is so important. And so when I was in Japan and Rwanda and seeing what was similar in terms of their arts and culture to what we experience here in St. Louis, lets me know that better is possible, and not just possible, it's doable. I'm the type of person, if I see that it exists somewhere else, then it can certainly happen here with collaboration and teamwork and just public will. And I think that RAC's role right now is critical as we are coming together after being apart for so long and allowing art to inspire and heal us.
How do you feel about outdoor art? Recently, a group of volunteers on Hanley Road took chalk and reimagined the pillars on the Forest Park Parkway, and it's a temporary installation, but I think it looks really good, and I hope everyone can take a look at that at their leisure. I know in Miami, for example, they have artists who are going into some of the most struggling neighborhoods, and they're putting great murals on the sides of buildings, painting the whole sides of buildings in order to spruce up the neighborhood. And then they found that coffee shops and restaurants are moving there because the place looks better. Is there anything like that that we could be doing here in St. Louis?
Yes, public art is essential to community unifying, healing. It's safer outside. And I think particularly now as we come together, as we get through the pandemic, public art will play an essential role. And there are a lot of things that are already happening in the St. Louis community. If you've taken a drive down page, you'll notice there are murals of St. Louis heroes all across the neighborhood and in the community. And when you think about it, our arch is public art.
Sure.
And so we benefit from public art that's in Keener Plaza. So I'm very proud of the public art that we have now. And what I'm most excited about RAC's role in that is really fostering and promoting and encouraging people to be creative, and that there are resources available, paintbrush, chalk, people to come together and make our community beautiful.
If you're just joining us, Vanessa Cooksey is our guest tonight. She is the president and CEO of the Regional Arts Commission. And in an article, you said that it was part of your daily routine that you have a prayer, and please forgive me, I'm paraphrasing, but you're talking about, Lord, please do not let my privilege eclipse or my, what is it? I'm sorry, I'm completely.
I appreciate that you read that, and it is my daily prayer, particularly in this work of leadership and our commitment to DEI. It's, Lord, please never let my privilege outpace my humanity.
Outpace my humanity, and that I think it's very obvious in all of the things that we have learned about you this week, that in such an important role, which can lean to the administrative and the fundraising and all of the stress involved on that side of it, it is very important to Vanessa Cooksey to emphasize the humanities within the arts, and to go from there. Why is that so important to you? Who impressed upon you the importance of that connectedness as Regional Arts Commission president and CEO?
Yes, our vision is a full creative life for every St. Louisan. And what RAC's role is to encourage the creativity that we all have. It is part of how we're wired to be creative as humans. And as we struggle and grapple with racial inequity, economic challenges, I think sometimes if we're just able to take a step back and look at what we have in common, and using arts and culture as a place to start conversations, to continue conversations, to help finish conversations and bring us together, I believe that for the St. Louis region, as much as we need an economic transformation, we need a cultural transformation, and really thinking about the narratives and what we say about ourselves and about each other. And art plays an essential role in that. And sometimes we get comfortable, and that's part of my belief and my faith that influences how I lead. It's great to have resources. And sometimes in your comfort, it's easy to not have empathy. It's easy to resist change. And if we are committed as community to really making a difference in the tide that lifts all boats, sometimes that means we have to be uncomfortable. And I think sometimes privilege makes us comfortable. And so my prayer is don't ever get so comfortable that you can't relate and can't connect to be helpful.
You work for the Atlanta mayor, and that is one city that really has taken off in the last 4 decades. I mean, can you compare and contrast Atlanta and St. Louis? Are there any lessons from Atlanta that one might learn here?
You know what? Honestly, I try not to compare. I heard a quote that comparison is the thief of joy. And I lived in St. Louis for 13 years. I've lived here longer than anywhere in St. Louis.
Well, let me rephrase that. How about best practices that we might learn from?
I think there are a lot of places that we can learn from, and specifically to Atlanta. I was very privileged to work for Shirley Franklin. The power of municipal leaders that govern for people. And our local government impacts our life on a daily basis. And I think sometimes we focus on federal elections, but to remember to stay engaged. And voting is just one part of it, but staying civically engaged is so important. And there was a phrase that Atlanta had as it was getting the Olympics: the city too busy to hate. And I feel like some version of that is necessary in St. Louis. Sometimes we focus so much on our differences and what's wrong versus what's right, and leveraging the arts to bring people together for healing. And that's also where Atlanta, as a best practice, the city invests directly in arts and culture. They've got great museums, great public art, great visual art, great performing arts. Growing communities need all of that. People want to visit and live in places that are beautiful and where they feel like they can belong.
This has been, I don't think anyone would disagree with the statement that this has been a period of rapid social change. Just today, President Biden signed Juneteenth, a federal holiday, into law. And these types of things are happening, it seems daily. One of the most important things that you believe that you have to do is advance the cause of diversity within the Regional Arts Commission, within the arts community. That is obviously a very tall order. And I know that you've been working very hard on that process. Can you share with our viewers what that process is going to look like as you see it in your mind's eye?
Absolutely. We are prioritizing grant making. And one of the things that excites me most about my work at RAC is our ability to invest in local artists. And the benefit of creativity in this community is the storytelling. And by supporting good storytelling, ensuring that how individuals and organizations and communities come together to make a difference, RAC's investment in that so that we can share those stories across our community, across this region is so important. So I'm really looking forward to next year when we have a new grant making system that makes it easy for artists to access dollars and resources. Capacity building. Oftentimes we enjoy art but don't always appreciate the process. Artists are entrepreneurs. Artists and small arts organizations, those are businesses.
That's right.
It's like any startup that we celebrate here in the community. That's the case for our artists and arts organizations. And so capacity building, arts administration, we're looking holistically at how we support the creative economy so that it's accessible, so that people who want to express creatively as a career feel like that's doable. I know some folks are discouraged if they want to paint or pursue music. Get a real job. That is a real job. And so we are well positioned to communicate and support the value of our creative economy and ensure that all of our stories and experiences are celebrated.
Your organization, we already discussed this, gets millions of dollars every year from the 93% from local taxes. Some years are better than others. We know that. We hope our better years are ahead of us. But how do you decide who gets that money? Which organizations, which artists, and how much money goes to each entity?
Thank you for asking that. One of the things I'm most proud of about RAC's process is it is very collaborative and public. We invite community members, artists, arts organizations to participate in grant review panels. And so just as any philanthropic organization, we open up an application process, we ask questions about the project, and then we have both our staff, our commission, and community people review those applications, score them. We have robust debate. So depending on what the program is, like our artist fellowship is a $20,000 award to a working artist. Our general operating support grants range from $5,000 to well in the six figures, $200,000-$300,000, depending on the size of the organization and their reach and impact in our community. And so I'm very proud to lead RAC because we are truly a regional organization that has regional impact across St. Louis City and St. Louis County, and we don't take that lightly. So we invite the community and the public to participate.
What can you tell us about the St. Louis Artist Relief Fund?
Yes, we are proactive, and our values, one of our values is to be relevant and responsive. So when the pandemic hit, many artists commissions were canceled.
Yeah.
Performances were canceled. So we hopped into action and committed $250,000 to take care of artists' basic needs because we believe in resilience. And we partnered with our other grantees and arts organizations to raise money and basically double our impact. We ended up raising nearly $600,000, and we're able to support more than 500 artists with grants from $500 to $1,000 to keep the heat and the lights on, to fix cars, to buy food, because without that support, we didn't know how long the pandemic was going to last, but we needed to respond quickly.
Can you tell us, is there still a downtown art plan? I know we were discussing that before the pandemic hit, and now that we went through what we did, is it still alive?
Yes, so there is still a downtown art plan. RAC is still committed to it. we've had to slow down a little bit because of our staffing and our financial situation. But what we also want to do is be strategic and think about the power of public art across the region. So downtown, in the city, in the county, how can we expand the impact and public benefit of public art? So you'll see more to come on that at the beginning of the year.
We know that you graduated from UT Austin, and we won't say anything about that, all of us Tiger fans up here. But Austin has such a vibrant arts community. Did that time there, did that foster this love for the arts in you, Vanessa, or who introduced you to the arts?
Actually, my family. I am thankful that both of my parents, my dad actually played the saxophone and he was an entrepreneur. So I grew up with music in the house. Our family comes from a very strong faith tradition, gospel music, jazz, blues. So just being in a family that is committed to arts and culture certainly influenced me. I've always had an interest in film and filmmaking. That was my goal. I wanted to go make movies with Spike Lee, and ended up going to Atlanta and working in entertainment. It is part of my nature as a creative person to love the arts, and I'm just very fortunate that my path took me both in a creative space but also a business space, and that's so important to be able to balance both in ensuring that our arts are sustainable. But in my heart, I'm a creative, and so this truly is my dream job, and I am thankful to be leading RAC right now.
What did you do for the Cartoon Network?
My first assignment there, I was working on the .com side of the business marketing. This was more than 20 years ago. So as you can imagine, the internet and .com was still very new. We were exploring gaming at the time. And then my second assignment there was in multicultural marketing as well as community relations. And I got to work on our childhood obesity initiative. And that's actually what got me to St. Louis to work for Save-A-Lot food stores in food deserts. I'm very mission driven, and I'm very thankful that in each of my positions, I've been able to make a difference in a particular area, from childhood obesity to financial education and now arts and culture.
You know, I know St. Louisans go all over the world to see art, and you've got a vested interest in getting people to move or visit to St. Louis, because the more tourists come here, the more they stay in hotels and motels, the more money your organization will benefit from. So what can the Regional Arts Commission in general, or artists in particular, do to make this a destination so that people will want to visit St. Louis?
You know what? We have to talk about our great arts and culture community. We have some of the world's greatest arts institutions, and I don't want us taking that for granted. And we have to celebrate it as residents. And I think that we do. We can, of course, do more. We have to communicate it. RAC's responsibility as the leading local arts agency for the city and county is cultural tourism marketing. When people come to visit, love that they're here to see the cards, love that they're here to see the blues, here for business, but checking out all of the great things happening in Grand Center, at the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center, out in Chesterfield. We have amazing arts institutions all over this region, and shouting to the rooftops is part of RAC's role in promoting tourism, because I want people to come and visit. I want them to move here, because then their family will come and visit. So there's a good benefit for that.
I feel like we used to be so proud of it, but this has been a very difficult period for the region. And I think your enthusiasm is for the region and the arts community is going to be infectious. You see a lot of reason to be optimistic in the future.
Absolutely. We have performing arts, visual arts, and so many St. Louisans have had global impact. I mean, we have visual artists, performing artists, dance, who have influenced arts and culture across the globe, and we cannot afford to take that for granted. We have to celebrate it, and RAC is going to be at the forefront of telling that story in partnership with our arts organizations, our artists, our elected officials, our corporations. That is our role as the leading arts agency in this community.
You know, Ms. Cooksey, we only have 30 seconds to go. Thank you for your time. But is there a deadline for people, individual artists who might want to put in a grant proposal? Is there like a date or a deadline that's coming up?
So for this year, we are getting a new grants management system. So we do not have an open application process, but we will open in January. And I'd say visit racstl.org. We will continue to be transparent and host town halls and be real clear on when that money's coming.
Thank you very much for joining us on Next Up. Vanessa Cooksey, President and CEO of the Regional Arts Commission. Thanks for bringing your energy and enthusiasm to our program.
Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy.
Thanks, everybody. Happy Father's Day. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Donnybrook is made possible by the support of the Betsy and Thomas Patterson Foundation and the members of 9PBS.